Welcome to the Investors Agency RoadMap Lite walkthrough explainer video. The RoadMap Lite is a tool that we've created to give investors more clarity of what their investment journey looks like, which is powered from their financial profile. We've seen it too many times where investors come through to our business and they are investing in property, but they're over leveraged because the banks haven't given them clear sight on what they should be borrowing. Instead, they're telling them what they can borrow. What you can borrow and what you should borrow are not understood well enough for property investors. And this tool really highlights why it is so important to buy at the right price, to get the right rent return, to continue your investment journey and wealth creation. So if we have a look on the panels over here, we've got our left-hand side menu, which goes into the income details and the financial profile of the investors that are investing in property. In the middle, we have our property pipeline. This tells us exactly what breakdown of property we should be expecting to be able to purchase. And by adjusting these values, it ensures us that we can get the most out of our pathway and our roadmap that we're intending for the wealth creation that we deserve. And on the right-hand side here, we have our portfolio performance and our retirement scenario. Now, these sections here show us exactly what we can expect to make at the end of our investment journey, and also how much cash flow we could expect to retire with if that's our goal. If our goal is to create a bigger deposit to purchase our home, then we can also simulate that into the model. We'll start off with the first section on the left here being our finance planner, and we'll input the details of the investors who are going to be investing in this property journey. We'll use the numbers of $150,000 for the first investor, $120,000 for the second investor. They won't have any other income at this stage. We'll put their living expenses at around $5,000. And let's say that they have one small child as a dependent on the loan with a credit card limit of, let's go with $10,000. There are no other monthly loans at this stage. Let's assume that they are responsible rent investors and they don't have any other debts against their names. Let's assume that they have got $175,000 in savings that they want to put towards the purchase. Now, as you can see, instantly the roadmap gets built out. Now, this roadmap is set to default at $650,000 as a purchase price with a 5.5% yield, generating $688 a week in rent. This is built out for every single property in the roadmap at these default values. You can, however, go in and change any of these values to give yourself a better understanding of what your pathway looks like under different scenarios of rental income, as well as holding debt for the assets that you are buying. The way the model works is that purchase one creates equity, which allows for the purchase of number two. Those combined create the portfolio value for number three. Those three combined create the portfolio value for number four, and so on until your property pipeline is full or your investment years are complete. So if we have a look at what these details are on the top of each property section, we can see that there's a purchase price requirement, a weekly rent, a deposit, and a cash contribution. Cash contribution is simulating whether you have extra funds to contribute towards it outside of the actual cash savings. This comes in handy when we want to use cash to support the equity to get to the next property, and we'll use this example in property number 7 shortly. The buying costs are broken down into stamp duty, buyer's agent fees, and other buying costs. Assumptions tell us which property market growth expectation we're assuming for the property to be located in. On the left-hand side, you can see a conservative expectation, a moderate in the middle, and an aggressive on the right-hand side. This breaks down the values attached to each of those models. Expenses on the right-hand side shows us the council, insurance, maintenance costs, as well as management fees. If some of the management fees were different because states and territories change, for example, we'd be able to change those numbers to a more suitable valuation for the management percentage. Coming down property by property, we can see that we are getting stopped at property number 6. The reason for this is shown to us here in the notifications section. As we can see, equity is fine. We have more than enough equity. Our servicing is strong, so we're not held up there. And our debt to income ratio is sitting at 6.6 times when the requirement actually stipulates for 6 times. So this is where we are coming stuck. To fix this, we would then simulate being able to potentially put a cash contribution towards property number 7, which would then reduce the debt on this purchase and get it across the line. In this case, $130,000 will do the trick. On the top bar here, you can see the performance at deadline status. This shows us what we can expect to make under the assumptions of the inputs that we've put into the properties at the time in the future, and in this case, we're looking 10 years ahead. If we wanted to look at what this could be in potentially 9 years ahead or 8 years ahead, we'll be able to simulate that by dragging the slider to the relevant years. This then reduces our figures on the top bar, but it also gives us a little bit more clarity if we are able to achieve our goals before the full 10-year deadline. The yellow dot here simulates exactly how much cash flow we would have been able to create at this time in the future. If that's not enough, we could then extend our years out and understand what that looks like in the future when we are selling down our debt. Now, taking the white dot to the yellow dot basically simulates the ability for us to take the property portfolio that we have, sell down a portion of it to create profits, which would then be used to pay off the debt from the banks and create our positive net cash flow amount. In this case, $133,000. Now, again, if this is not enough for you to be comfortable with, we would want to go back into our property pipeline, adjust those figures, and see how many more properties we can get forward and potentially retire with more cash flow if that's our objective. If our objective is that we are saving for a property in the future, which we're trying to create a bigger deposit for our family home, for example, we would want to sell down a little bit more of that property portfolio, creating liquidity. In this case, we are selling off 79% of the property portfolio to create $2.139 million in cash available for that home that we want to purchase for our family. By doing so, though, you are reducing your net cash flow because you're reducing the amount of assets that will create that cash flow for you. You're also reducing the portfolio value as a whole. So depending on how you want to structure your goals and how far away they are for you, you'll be able to simulate these scenarios with the RoadMap Lite. For myself and everybody at the Investors Agency, we hope this tool helps you to get a little bit more clarity and direction of exactly where it is that you're heading in your property investment journey. We wish you all the very best on your RoadMap building journey ahead.